that we've seen in almost every TVT that's played on this map.
Marine tank.
Yeah. Yeah, the tank pushes by the natural mineral lines are really, really frustrating. This guy, man, he's, that's a tough loss to take. He just, you know, it's like, I just tried to expand, guys. That's all I wanted to do, but it's not quite enough these days. He's down 0-1 in this best of 5. He is CM Storm's Polt.
And his opponents spawning on the opposite side of the map, representing Team Millennium from Korea. It is ForGG, aka Finn, aka the Pretender, and I believe he even had another name. I can't remember. He was like Shark or something for a while there.
Yeah, I'm actually now that you say it, I remember because he used to stream
Raptor.
under a different name. Yeah, Raptor.
Raptor
was
something.
Raptor was the Korean Grandmaster account he streamed on a long
Maybe
time ago.
Raptor Jesus. That's a sick name.
I'm not sure that's in ForGG's repertoire, but I would accept it either way. But yeah, this map is one of the ones where you can play reasonably well against gas first without going for it. So neither player is actually doing the gas first strategy. It looks like maybe.
I think they did.
So ForGG is gonna go for that setup. It looks
They
like
did.
Yeah, he'll have about 100 gas. Polt wants to play for Reaper, which is fine. But the weird thing is, one of the builds that ForGG used that I talked about earlier in the MMA series was you have like these builds that you get the Reaper after one Marine, and your factory finishes up so much more quickly after that that if you move down the map with a Hellion and a Reaper, you generally win the fight versus your opponent's one Reaper, sometimes the two Reapers, but a lot of Terrans will just get that one Reaper, get the reactor, and expand like they would against Protoss. So Polt will still need to be, you know, a little bit careful. He did SCV scout, so he's kind of aware of it, at the very least what he's up against, but he doesn't know for a fact that there's not like a second, you know, or a second Marine or a Reaper. We know it's a Marine, so not the fastest ever aggression from ForGG.
And look at Polt. He's going to go with that CC, following it up, as well as the reactor, of course, for just kind of presumably Marines after that. Might get a factory for himself. It's going to be quite a bit later. And a second gas for ForGG. Now, is this still solid proof that we're going to see Cloak Banshee?
It could be Raven. ForGG has mixed it up quite a bit. Like ForGG is one of the guys that'll get that Raven out really early, bank up a lot of energy, and then go into Vikings past that, or even just go into Banshees after the Raven. But he wants to build up energy for it, so that when he makes his big Hellion push, if there are tanks to defend, he can throw down Seeker missiles to kill them, or just lay down auto turrets behind them so that he can just focus them down faster with his Hellions. The Reaper gets pushed out of the base. I do not believe
As
Polt
it would,
knows
by
about
the
the
way.
second gas.
This is not a great map for Reaper if we're going to be a little bit monocle and top hat about this. There's not a lot of entry points. It's pretty much all around that ramp, which is where the Marines would be anyways. So the Reaper doesn't do much. It sees a couple of Marines. He already knows there is a factory, so of course Polt has an idea that he should be facing some form of an aggressive opening, but he has of yet not discovered that it's Cloak Banshee.
No. So ForGG, and this is kind of interesting because it makes me think about some of the players that these guys have faced in TVT. And I think to ForGG, I'm like, well, he played NMA and Polt. Those are the two most recent TVTs on a big live stage that I can remember. That was at DreamHack Stockholm. Some of the games that Polt's played, he's had some trouble dealing with these types of plays. I recall a game against Bomber in Battlegrounds DC where Bomber like put out 7 Banshees in a row. Like he really just did not care. It might have been the WCS America Finals. They really did not care about Polt's defense. He just made Banshees constantly rip them apart. So Polt needs to keep his eyes open for things like this. The factory getting that reactor, I do expect to see Hellions, and that's what he's going to go for. So he could very well set himself up for that big Hellion push around 10, 11 minutes.
Yeah, we're going to see what kind of takes shape here. The Reaper, unfortunately, does get deflected from ForGG's base. It does not see the critical structure of the starport with that tech lab. A lot of Marines making their way across here, and this is so signature ForGG. He's always been so aggressive. He takes a build that everyone does, and he just adds a little bit of aggression to it.
This actually is kind of problematic. This bunker is starting very late. ForGG is not exactly setting himself up for a, oh wow. Okay, so this medevac passes right by the Banshee. When he sees this turret, like the way that his Marines are set up at this tower, he's actually getting right onto this medevac, and if he kills this, this is a game-losing. Gets the medevac with all of Polt's units, and there's nothing at the front to actually defend Polt's expansion. He kills the SCV building the bunker. He's got his Hellions here. His Marines are coming. There's actually no standing forces for Polt right now. He has 2 Marines.
Oh my God. There's nothing. This is actually later than 640, so congrats to Polt. You lasted about 30 seconds longer. A Viking comes out, but there's no answer for these Marines right here, anchored by the 2 Hellions. They get the missile turret. There's no detection except for the missile turret inside the mineral line, but he can wait. He can zone that out. Here come the Hellions, and what does Polt do other than type in GG? I mean, he's just dead as a doornail.
There's a lot of things about like the maps and such that I'd say make TVT really hard, but in this game, Polt just being a little bit, Polt just being careless, flat out careless with that medevac. Flying into those Marines cost him the game.
Oh my God.
That's not a mistake you can make in the first 6 minutes and win with. GG.
No, and I'm trying to think if he saw the Marines come across the map. I don't believe he did, but he flew right past the Banshee.
Right past the watchtower,
and he's going down the middle of the map. Yeah, there's no real excuse to be made. If there's anything out on the map, it's a bad idea, and you're not being very sneaky with it. So ForGG is going to write in his journal right there. He's kind of just... Look at how calm he is.
He's like, He's like, my notes say, catch enemy medevac full first 8 minutes, go kill him. And, you know, to Polt's weakness against the counterattack, he also built an engineering bay and 3 missile turrets. He's one of the only Terran players that will build more than 2.